barrier, right? It's barrier.
Yeah. Pretty much always barrier unless they have extreme CC, then maybe cleanse. Like if they have Ash
Okay.
Leona or something. That's basically just Leona or maybe
This is
Ash.
crazy. I haven't. I mean, I'm wanting to play carry, but I haven't been mid like so much now.
Yeah. Let me see. Hey, what's up, everybody? Jason's got mid here. I feel like Hex Optic into Infinity Edge is the way to go. But let me see what the statistics say. It's about even. A lot of people are going Collector, but
Dude.
I feel like Hex Optic scales better. Was it 55, 25?
Nocturne, bro.
Oh, they have Nocturne.
I didn't realize what I was, and I banned fucking Akai. I should have banned Nocturne. Ugh.
Yeah, I really feel like Hex Optic into Infinity Edge is the way to go. Now, Hubris is pretty good, like early game, but
Let's see, is a Yone 80 carry?
Yeah. Yeah, probably. I mean, or Darius or something weird, but probably Yone. I mean, it could also be Malzahar.
I should have got
It's Malzahar.
Uh,
Cleanse doesn't work on his ult, so you're good.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because it's a suppression. It would work on Sona ult, but that's not worth it. Yeah, barrier. Barrier doesn't work either if he has you barriered with it, but you can barrier once it's off and do something.
Is the Hex Optics the way to go on this champ now, or do I?
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at. I feel like it probably is.
So rush that, you think?
Yeah. Hex Optics, Infinity Edge.
Right, then I'll do like rapid after, then Doms.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, they're all pretty close range. I don't know if you're going to need the rapid range. The thing about Hex Optics is after you get a kill, you get like a billion extra range too for like 6-8 seconds. So it's a really good item. Like the stats are pretty good. It doesn't have lethality on it, but it's cheap.
Fairly cheap.
Yeah, you get 2,800 to buy it, and you get 10% extra auto attack damage, which works really well with your crits. Yeah, and then you can just get crazy range after. So I would probably just go. Yeah, it's been kind of the hotness for a while. Yeah, I would just go Optics, Infinity Edge, and then probably just Doms. I think you just want to kill them ASAP. I mean, they're gonna get you. They're gonna get on you. I don't think rapid fire. You're just not gonna be able. I mean, you can kite Darius a little bit with it, I guess, but
okay, I don't need to get it.
Yeah, rapid fire. You just you really gimp your damage for movement speed. I feel like. Yeah. I mean, the worst thing in solo queue, I think, a lot of times is that Ghost Blade into rapid fire. It's popular in pro when you don't need your Jhin to do damage, but when you just chill with running around and rooting people. But one of the commentators call it vegan Jhin.
But vegan Jhin?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Oh my god.
I'm gonna get you some meat. Get that Hex Optics meat.
Right.
Alright, so what am I getting here? I just lock it. Pocket to open. Just to stop the burst from Nocturne.
Alright, thank you.
Alright, good. I think you're good.
Alright.
Yeah, you need to probably go back.
I'm back.
Okay.
I can't wait to see what I'm gonna do.
Butter, avert your eyes. If you're coming in. Let's get a board. I don't even know why I got cloth armor does 0, but that's just all I could afford. I guess I could have waited slightly longer, but I don't want to lose XP just to get a null magic. I guess just lock it Vow. Here, I'm gonna ward.
You're good.
I'm gonna ward the actual dragon. The hell kind of bug is that? Doesn't show the red circle around the scuttle. They saw me put that ward there then. I should have put it in the pit. I didn't know which scuttle it was. Nocturne's probably not 6 yet, but it's probably getting close.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm just gonna trade a little bit and just
You're
run.
good. Me too. You're good.
Yeah.
I'm just trading too.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, if we just stack damage on Sona,
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, yeah.
and she's probably maxing her Q first. Her W healing is horrible on single target early. So as long as she doesn't get a lot of value out of healing 2 people.
Shit, that's my
Oh,
bad.
that's not
That
good.
was rough.
Okay, she doesn't have tier either. She's not getting tier. That's interesting. Hold on, just let him push in for a second. I'm gonna
Okay.
get rid of this ward here, so maybe they can gank. Oh, they didn't ward it. Wow. Now they did. That's annoying. Damn, I lost XP on that though. They're gonna hit 6 soon. Oh, nice. Okay.
Oh. I need the mouse.
That was 1 for 1, not too bad, considering the situation.
I had a flash for Sona. That sucked.
Yeah. I maybe could have just killed her. I thought she got that heal. I thought that either you or Nunu was going to get it. But I probably should have taken it. He could regank this. He's got so many camps though. He's probably just got it back. I'm I'm just gonna get Ionians. That's a bad back timing, but alright, be careful. They have ults, I think.
Oh yeah, they have all. Yeah.
Danger is as fun as you let it.
Their ults are so dumb.
Yeah. And then Nocturne could be anywhere if we don't see him. Dragon's up, so he's likely to try to come bottom. I might have to run to you if he comes at me. Alright, we're good.
When I get sad, why stop being sad and be awesome instead?
Sona, is she just going straight Moonstone? That's really annoying. Alright. Where? Middle? Okay.
I am only as wild as me.
An enemy has been slain.
Okay.
An ally has been slain.
Humans think that to believe in something you have to be
If I get a sod on Malzahar, alright, I'm gonna try to. Oh shit. Wow, okay. He was so far forward. Okay. He was so far forward, he was trying to walk back and get hit. He was just so far out of position, I just wasn't even ready for it. I thought he was just going to be a little out of position. Could have been insanely out of position. I could have just walked in and ulted him. Maybe get her. She's not paying attention. Nah, it's fine. It's fine. Just run. Just run. Nunu's coming. No, no, no. Fuck, Nocturne's here too. Okay. Nice. Okay. I'm gonna help Nunu with this dragons. Just be a little careful. Well, I guess he's fine. He's got it. Is he waiting? Okay. Hey, what's up, Cooper? Thanks, man. Thanks for coming out. Push one more.
Okay, one more. Okay.
Oh, he's just gonna mega push this. We kill his little bullshit. He can't push that well. Okay. He's gonna stop me with it.
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, I'll see if I can stop him from messing with you. Oh, what? Okay, bro, you got it. Yeah, she rushed Moonstone, which is really annoying. Alright, they'll push it into you. I'm gonna back up here.
Okay.
He shouldn't have ult for a little bit. Zig's doing well. Garen's doing pretty well. Nunu's probably gonna gank here in a second. She's probably gonna try to clear Tribush. No way. Okay, shit.
Oh,
Yeah, Nunu was trying to hand it off. We just gotta take these kills. The healing is just goofy. I mean, you're getting them, which is cool, but you're having to like burn your flash and you're dying too.
yeah, I know. It's kind of like,
It's like, boys, just take it. Okay. This Malzahar just does not do as much damage as he thinks he does. So he just used his ult on Nunu, so he doesn't have that.
I mean, if he stays, I think you could just go on him.
Yeah, I don't have ult,
He's got no
but
mana.
I'm gonna go see what's going on with Ziggs over here. Summoner ran him down. Come here, come here. Ooh, okay. Oh. Alright, I'll just put a word there. Okay. Hmm. Yone's coming. Like, switching or what? Yone's just walking down. Alright, I just gotta run around and match Sona, I guess. Just, he'll push into you. I think probably be alright. Just doesn't even have an item. Just be a little careful if it's all in, but I gotta protect this shutdown over here. On that objective, it's worth a lot. Oh, he's good. Whew, he almost burned out. It's close. I really wanted something to happen there. Okay, just slow roll this for a minute, I guess. Nice. I said 0 damage. Oh no, the crab just looks weird. I did some damage to it, but not a lot. I don't know if he saw me or not. Oh my god, I got knocked away. I think he's got to run, I think. can't do that. Wow, he backed off that tower? Okay.
If it don't get out of control, it ain't gonna hurt.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
They will see my face. Then they will know what to do.
Dominating.
No, Garen's back, and Let's just get out. It's fine.
Hey, you ever seen moves like
Zig's got pressure bottom.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
Holy. Okay. God.
Ally has been slain.
Hmm.
Your team has
I think
destroyed.
you guys can probably delay that with Ziggs. They shouldn't be that fast at it.
they ain't ready for what I'm bringing.
Shut down.
Yeah, they're not, they can't do it. Dragon coming out. Yeah, I thought I could get someone to blow a flash or something, and I knew Nocturne might ult, but I thought I could E back out, but nobody's close enough. I should have just not tried it.
Magic is supposed to be scary. Love is supposed to hurt. Ecstasy means
Hey, what's up, Armadillo? Archaon or redo of Festus after all the updates done in Nurgle? I don't know. I haven't. I'd have to scout it out and see.
so long to get back to the action.
Festus is pretty fun. He's the one that's in. It's been a while since I played that. He's the one that's in Empire territory, right? I think he was my favorite. Or no, Tamarcon's cool, but Festus was very fun too. I mean, if I had to pick, probably Festus. Oh my god, dude, this fucking Sona. Holy shit. Dude, how did... Oh my god, I was gonna say, how do we not kill anybody, but I know the answer to that. It's fucking Sona, man. Zig's poke just doesn't work. Dude, he's going way too hard, man. Yeah, you don't have a lot of Dark Fortresses. But you get to run over Empire, which is one of the weakest factions when the computer plays it. It's not like OP when, oh god, when humans play it, but it's just one of those things where it's like your alliances and your ability to manage the special, stuff you can recruit. It's kind of what makes it strong, and the AI just doesn't do a great job of that. Yeah, he's fun. Archaon, I think I've tried an Archaon campaign. He's pretty cool. Like, he's a bit more difficult and gets stopped. Like, he's a powerful warrior, but he's up against powerful enemies. Like, the Chaos stuff is the strongest stuff, usually, for the AI. Because their units are just really strong. I mean, I know they get Chaos stuff, too, when you're facing... I don't remember exactly what you're... I think you're facing the bear guy that has like 1 billion bears early, and I think he's kind of the big issue in the early game. I don't think I didn't go like too far with that campaign. I did a little bit with it. I was gonna do, I've got a few episodes on the new Cathay person, so I was gonna do that, but I could just put a pause on that if you wanted to donate for it. I've got my my daughter's birthday party is this Saturday, so I've got to do some preparations for that, but I could probably at least start releasing episodes by next week. I'd probably still fit in some time for it. Where's that mid? Where the f was that? Dude, I'm getting so fucking sick of this Sona, man. Maybe just ban Sona. I don't know. It's just so stupid. Even after the nerf, she just rolls her hand across the keyboard and you just can't kill anybody. Fights. Kill that clown. Jesus, thank God. That's the boss right there. It's the raid boss.
Shit, I'm dead.
No, you're good. God, fucking silence for 50 years. Oh, thank God. Garen fucking dunked him.
You might kill them both?
No.
Oh, so close.
I could have gone in on the Garen, but I think I would have died. My ult just came up right when he was basically down and out. It's possible I was being too scared there, but we'll just get Knight's Vow next. What do I think about the new Norska guy? I tried a little bit of his camp. I didn't play like a whole lot of it. I scouted it out. I feel like he's not very good. But I don't know. Dakala is really fun. That was one of my favorite lords. I feel like, I don't know, like one thing that made Dakala a lot easier is like the settlement trading. Feels a little strong diplomatically. Like I just gave people part of a province, and I think I like didn't have to deal with Balthazar, like ever hardly. So I basically only had a war on one front the whole time. So like that's the biggest thing. One of the biggest things with like almost any campaign. Shit.
What's on alt?
Nice. Is can you keep it to single front, right? Because once they start backdooring you, you have to have multiple armies, especially early game, to deal with stuff. Like, it's a problem.
Damn.
I will make them dance. I will make them hear.
Fucking Sona healing, dude. Sona with these tanks. I mean, just like Ziggs just isn't a champion when Sona's there. It's like, yeah, Nunu, you're playing fucking Nunu, man. I don't know, like, I like Nunu as a design, but he's underpowered. I think we're still doing alright. It's like, we're just getting bad fights. I don't know, that should have been, like, people died almost immediately. Like, the Yone and Nocturne should have died immediately for their nonsense.
We kill this
Yeah,
dude.
let's get this guy first. This guy's just, like, trying to throw the game so hard. Fuck, missed him.
Gosh.
The slow. God, the fucking Rylai's. Holy shit. How long? I mean, it just stays on you forever. Ziggs needs decap. Like, I think Morella... I don't know. Like, we kind of do need the heal cut, but... It's like, a lot of Sona's bullshit is shields, too. Like, that's the issue. They all have a lot of shields. And it's like, you can't get heal and shield cut. Because a lot of her stuff is like, Locket, and then you got shield bow on Yone. Hey, thanks, man. Yeah, I don't know, I might have to just not do that myself, because I feel like there are several campaigns where you're able to do that. You can kind of just buy off a potential adversary by giving them, like, a minor settlement or something. If they own settlements in the province, you just give them a minor settlement just to appease them, and then they become often military allies. And then you can start, you know, getting trade agreements with them. Good lord. Get trade agreements, you can start trading units, and the big thing is they don't attack you, so then you get to keep it to single front war. Which is like, it's cool, but it feels a little cheesy. It's like, you're probably supposed to have to deal with Balthazar early. Can we even do anything about that? I mean, maybe. Maybe with Ziggs. They do it kind of low, or slow. The Sona healing, though.
Oh, you guys are actually doing it? So to stop the Yone. It's not gonna be good.
Oh, shit. Holy. Can we do this now? Who's up? Just Yone Malzahar?
You know, he's gonna go back top.
Alright.
For sure.
I'm running low on mana. They're gonna try to come up here and get cute. I gotta try to save mana. Holy shit, the Nocturne though. I swear to God, this slow is crazy. I think we're good. Does your Streamlabs website work for you? I get an error that the owner needs to update their settings. Okay, no, I didn't know that. You can do it just through YouTube, if that helps. I haven't even looked at Streamlabs in a while. I haven't had a donation in a while. I think. Or you could, there might be a link in the description that just goes straight to PayPal, or you can just donate it through, I forgot what they call it on YouTube. Tips or something on YouTube. You gotta be careful. Nocturne. People aren't close. Oh, Ziggs just blew his ult on that.
Oh.
It's fine, I think. Malzahar blew his ult too.
Good.
Yeah.
What about?
Malzahar, brother, you... Oh, or not Malzahar. Okay. Ziggs for Yone is probably a good trade. Okay, what? Sure, the Sona ult gone. Nice. Okay. I think we still have some Baron. Maybe we can get a tier 2. Or actually, no, all tier 2s are gone. Push it up. We got 20 seconds. And he was like, nah, I gotta get my blue real quick. Come on, brother. There. Okay, Garen's backing up. Yeah, we can't do it. Too much. I don't even get final item here. Need more damage. Nunu does some. I don't know about that. I don't think your ult does anything unless they're really low. Is Shirelia's? Or I guess just Redemption?
Oh, probably because it'd be good with Ziggs' ult.
I guess. I mean, if you just root somebody with a W, or if I CC someone, I mean, we got a lot of opportunities. I think just running up and autoing them is probably it, unless you just can't get to the fight. Even then, I think just running there. I don't know. Now you must look at Streamlabs. Okay. I'll have to do it tomorrow. I can't do it tonight. I'll see if I can do it tomorrow. Man, my time... I don't even know where the hell the time goes. Like, I literally I haven't been doing any channel stuff during the day. I don't watch TV. It's just all day, every day, just stuff. Like wheeling the kids around places, doing the yard. Like, I don't know. I've got to figure out a way to just be more efficient with my time.
Gotta get myself hyped. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2. Woo! All right.
But which one did you... Let me know if you figure out a way to donate, or if you just want to wait on the Streamlabs, and which one you want me to do. Festus is probably personally a little more fun, but I do like both. Okay, we got the Flash. We got Baron up. Zig's bottom. He has TP, but they can just... We really need Garen.
Oh.
Holy. God, they ran fucking everything at me. We still just get punked. I mean, Yone just hit a lot of people with his ult. I think that was the issue. Everybody's kind of stacked up. I don't think we can contest that. Not without Nunu. They're just going to get it. Just push the lanes up. Oh my god, dude. The Moonstone. Glad they nerfed it.
It's all right. It's okay.
Just don't even get any plus healing and shielding and still heal for like 7,000. Yeah, it's too much rundown. Yeah, the Sona is a fucking problem. Maybe I just ban Sona. We just can't, I mean, we can kind of pressure her, but not, it depends on the ADC. It's like, it's hard to pressure her in lane. Unless you know, play Blitzcrank or something. She just scales so hard later. No, I mean, they're gonna get 1 or 2. Still, they didn't do any damage. Just give up the tier 1, brother. What he's doing. Or the tier 2. Give him this, probably. Can I fucking move yet? Holy shit. What the fuck? God. No, Willem, it's a comp diff, brother. Like, you're playing an F tier champ. And got exposed. And Zig's also not great against that comp. We just got outscaled. Well, you got time for one more, or are you gonna do arenas with your homie?
I'll play one more. Yes.
Okay, we'll do one more. Oh my god, dude, the Malzahar did 65k damage. What? I mean, Ziggs did quite a bit too. I mean, they're just like long AoE fights. I mean, the Yone was kind of problematic too, but yeah, they just had so many shields and heals, and we just, like, Ziggs, Garen, Nunu, just don't do a lot of sustained damage. I mean, Jhin really doesn't do a ton either. It's like a lot of burst. Sorry, Arena for World of Warcraft, not for League. I haven't really done a for fun game mode in a while. I did like the I forgot what it was. It's like the almost Diablo kind of mini game they had for a while there. It wasn't Star Guardians. You like went through these levels, you dodged a bunch of stuff, you like blew up a bunch of things, and you got like augments to level up, and it like carried over from map to map. That one was pretty fun. I forgot what that was called. But I haven't really done a ton of the for fun game modes in a while. That was probably my favorite one, though. And I don't even know all the changes they've done to Nurgle recently, or Warriors of Chaos. I guess he's a Warrior of Chaos, right? That's like the Nurgle-inspired Warrior of Chaos. I have played it. I think I did one campaign where after they changed the plague system, but that was probably at least a year ago, if not longer. I'm just getting Sona out of there. Mandate on Poppy. I mean, I haven't seen it. I don't think it would be great. I think she needs HP. Yeah, it's just like so few like good use cases for Mandate because it doesn't have health on it. So it's like you want your backline hardcore enchanters to just get the stuff without health, but then like most of them don't have enough CC to make Mandate worth it. I just feel like the number is just too low. I guess you've got two abilities that would benefit. Your stop movement thing doesn't benefit from that, I don't think. I mean, I could do Seraphine Ash, but I just don't want to do that into Quinn or whichever assassins they're gonna pick. Rakan's really good with Shaco too. It's anything that can dive and get back there. Rakan likes it. Last match was weird, man. I don't know. We just didn't have damage if they were all grouped. And oftentimes they would catch people out when we're not grouped. And they were very, like, with Nocturne, obviously they can do that. But then Sona just gives the whole team, like, 20% movement speed, too. I don't think she only had 1 plus healing and shielding item on Redemption. Or with Redemption and Moonstone. The rest of them, she had Locket and the Athene's thing. So it's like the nerf to plus healing and shielding doesn't even matter like that much because most of these champs that are getting Moonstone are not getting a lot of plus healing and shielding. Right? Like very few people ever get like Mikhail's, Ardent Sensor, Staff of Flowing Water. It's usually Moonstone, and then it's still the Athene's item, and then just some other type of utility item. Okay. Okay, well maybe they nerfed it. Maybe they made it harder. I mean, that was definitely a thing. Like, he was at his strongest before the Plague rework, I think. And then after the Plague rework, it's like, alright. But you could still kind of make it work. I don't know if they buffed Empire or not. It's just Empire has a really hard time with just infantry, clog, and regenerate stuff. I mean, a lot of factions do, but Empire early on just doesn't have a lot of, like, I don't know. Empire has, like, decent, they're just, like, kind of would say jack of all trades, but master of none. But really, their stat line has just been outshined a lot. Festus is just so good, and Nurgle in general is just so good on sieges because your regeneration. You just outlast people. Guess the big problem, from what I'm remembering, I think they could kind of struggle against like large elite units. You could still deal with it. And obviously any kind of snipers, like focus firing, Festus himself, or other high value targets is problematic because you're so slow, like you can't get to them. But I don't remember. I think you can still get like the halberd units. It's been a while. I'd have to check it out and see. I know, like, back in the day, I mean, you didn't have as much money. I guess you did have Dark Fortresses when the game initially released, but there was a money plague, and I'm pretty sure they got rid of it, but it was like 3x sack bonus or something like that. It was just like massive money. So you could go into debt, you could be owing like 8,000 a turn, but every sack was giving you like 40 or 50. That's how old school Chaos used to be, is you're just constantly burning money, but as long as you were aggressive, it worked. That was how a lot of the Horde factions were. Which makes sense. I thought it was kind of cool. Just really put some urgency under like the aggression. But then they tried to make it like, you're trying to hold these specific areas with the fortress system, which seems very un-Chaos. Chaos just burns everything, man. But I guess that just like isn't, and they just should be a horde. But I guess that's just like not as fun. The Beastmen have a pretty good system for that, where it's like you're sort of burning stuff, and there's a couple of places you want to get, but I feel like there should be more Dark Fortresses like throughout the world too. I get it, most of them are like in the north thematically, but you do start to run out. There are a few in Empire territory, but after that, it does start to get a little weird. And you kind of want to, again, you don't want that two-front war I was talking about earlier. What the? Oh, it's Quinn Jungle? I just realized that. Where the f is she going? Oh my god. What a disaster. How do we not kill the Yone? I don't even understand. That was weird. But yeah, so you're gonna have, like, the human factions are all gonna hate you, and they're gonna be coming for you, so it's like you kind of want Norska to be your friend. Or at least, like, neutral. But then you also need to fight them to get to the to get to the fortresses. So yeah, it's definitely a little awkward. Do I feel I'm qualified to give advice? So it depends on who I'm advising, right? Like, am I qualified to give a professional player advice on League? Probably not. Am I qualified to give a silver player advice on League? Possibly. It's like, do you need a Harvard professor teaching your middle school class? I mean, some of it comes down to just, like, what kind of advice you need, and, like, teaching is an actual skill, too, and not just... Because you can have people that are really good players that just have no patience or just don't know how to explain things to people. They're like, just do it, right? Just get priority in your lane. Use your, use your momentum to get the objective. Why aren't you doing that, right? But they're not, like, explaining how or, like, why that's important or what it is. So it's up to you. I mean, it just depends. Well, again, it depends, right? Like, there's such a thing as talking at too high of a level as well, right? If you're talking at too high of a level about very specific concepts that people don't understand or can't master or can't execute, right? If you're just talking a lot about mechanics, some people just aren't going to be able to do that, right? So it's like not great advice to give a silver player to tell them just play, Yasuo perfectly, do these animation cancels, do these attack move things, or whatever. And they just can't physically do it, like, or just tell them to like keep track of 20 different things in their mind at once, and it's just like mentally they just can't do that, man. That's not an option. Just like a teacher, telling someone, like a math teacher, saying, be smart, do the problem. Do this calculus problem. It's like, they can't.
Humans claim it is theirs. Sense us away.
So yeah, it's like, would I be a better teacher than like a professional coach or a professional player who's also a really good educator and understands different levels and things like that? No. Right? But I mean, that's like the same type of reasoning. Like, why should a professional basketball player, listen to coaches, right? The coach can't dunk. Many of them never even played in the NBA. It's like, well, why? Why should you listen to that? It's like, well, because like their understanding and their way of explaining things and managing things is useful or valuable. But that's like an age-old question, right? It's like someone who hasn't done something at the highest level, can they still have insights that are helpful for people? And the answer is yes. I mean, a lot of the best coaches actually weren't really, if they did play, they weren't even that great of players, like Phil Jackson. And a lot of his stuff wasn't even X's and O's with Jordan and Kobe and Shaq, right? It's like, there were people that were better at the X's and O's technical stuff, right? Like Greg Popovich and a lot of other coaches of that era. But he was just really good at kind of understanding his players and having this different kind of insight and mentality and stuff like that with his Zen Master stuff, having them meditate, having them do these other like unusual training tactics to help manage big personalities. I'm not saying I'm Phil Jackson. But I'm just saying that sometimes just seeing something in a different light or from a different perspective can be helpful, even if it's not the best perspective, right? And it's like, definitely if it's on stream, it's free, just talk, right? And someone can choose to listen or not. As far as like coaching sessions and stuff like that, that's different. But I think a lot of people that donated for coaching sessions in the past, I haven't really done those in a long time, but really just wanted to support the channel. Like they weren't under any presumption that it's going to change their life. Down a little bit. We just can't really make a play on them yet. We've got to wait on Shaco. Duncan can win you a game. I mean, it won Shaq quite a few games. Yeah. I mean, mechanics matter. I still am definitely of the proponent that macro matters a lot more than mechanics. I think you can still get a pretty high rank even if your mechanics aren't amazing, if you just play champs that aren't mechanically demanding, that are effective, and there's a lot of champs like that. most supports are not like that mechanically demanding. For example, you can definitely climb, play, and support. Yeah, I mean, I've been an educator for a long time. Hopefully I can stay in that industry. It's kind of tough for adjuncts, but I've been like a English teacher for, like at a university for, oh, hold on. Really, the Shaker didn't get him? Even after the flash? That's rough. Trying to get resets. Man. That's wild. I guess maybe Nami exhausted him. Well, it just depends. I mean, I capped out at low diamond. I'm just old, right? Like, I'm in my 40s. So I just don't have the mechanics that I used to. But I think the game knowledge is still like, oh, again, like, okay there. Yeah, I mean, it depends on how much people are paying. Now, something like Nice, I kind of had a problem with Nice back in the day. I mean, there is something to say, like, if there's a market, pay for it. But, like, I don't even know if you know Nice. I'm not sure how long you've been around. But he was a guy, I don't know if he still does it or not, but he would charge $300 a coaching session. And people would pay it. And I don't know, he might have been Challenger, like, once a long time ago, but he was never pro. And I watched some of his stuff, and he's just, like, kind of angry at people a lot of times, and it's just not great coaching, in my opinion. But people would pay it. And he just had such a strong brand just through, like, sheer advertising that was problematic, right? When people were paying... yeah, I guess we'll just go lock it here. When people are paying that much money, right? When there's, like, pro coaches like Vager V2 or whatever that were charging like $70 for coaching, or even someone like LS was like $100 for coaching, which is a lot, but he's, you know, a really well-known analyst. But it was just like crazy, but people were paying it. But that was one where it was like, okay, I feel like you're kind of taking advantage of people with that. But if it's just like, again, cheaper or free, you know. And I think, again, there's something to be said for multiple perspectives. There probably is a right way in any decision. In League, there's probably a best choice. It's not all relative. But sometimes hearing other perspectives is helpful. Like, I'll just tell you, as an educator, am I way smarter than virtually all of my students at writing? Can I write better than they can? Can I analyze literature and other writing better than they can? Yes. Right? I've had just way more practice with it. But I still learn a lot from them if I listen, right? Like, they can still, you know, have a way of writing about something like, I'd never really thought about that perspective with this topic. It's like, yes, I could probably write about it better than you, but you're still teaching me something I didn't really think about. And that kind of enhances my own thinking. And I think that's how it is with a lot of people, where you can learn stuff from people, even if you're quote-unquote smarter than them at certain things. Or whatever. If you just listen, then you can learn. And I think pro players say that too, where they're like, hey, I got this crazy idea for a build or something else from like silver players or something. I think that, who was that? Was that Dopa that said that a long time ago? Something like silver players or gold players, like, come up with some of the most interesting stuff. They just can't really execute on it, so I try to perfect it. So it's just stuff like that. Even just listening to people, if they're saying stuff that's worth considering, I think is worth talking about. So again, it just depends on who you are, what level you're at, and what kind of, you know, advice you're looking for. And how much you're paying, too, to an extent. And, like, is it worth, right? So, yeah, but, I mean, I definitely feel that, where it can be frustrating, where, you know, especially if you were trying to get into coaching or, you know, whatever, and you're like, hey, this person, you know, I don't even have a lot of success, right? Like, his channel is very low. Back in, you know, from 2018 to 2021, I used to get hundreds of concurrent views. And now we're down to, you know, like 10 or whatever. I was trying not to get that, but I was rooted. I guess I could have just stopped movement instead of clicking away. So it's like, I feel that. And there's definitely... No. Unless that's the fake. No, it's not. But I feel that. I mean, just as a content creator, it's like, you know, I see some people be like, how the hell is this guy so popular, right? Like, he's not good at the game. He's not particularly entertaining. You know, it's just, you just never know.
He's coming down.
Who is?
Yone.
Okay.
He's fed as hell. Oh.
Oh my god. So it's like, I can definitely feel that, where it's like people that just seem like they're not as good or even that entertaining or whatever. Or digestible. Well, it depends, right? Like, maybe that's the advice they need in that elo. I don't think that the same advice is as good in every elo, right? Like, simple example, lower elo and like higher elo challenger, whatever, it might be correct to roam a lot, right? To just pick Alistar, you know, like Helicopter, and just roam around the map and make plays. If you tell a silver player to go do that, first thing that's going to happen, their ADC is going to die, and then they're going to start flaming and raging you. Like, I literally, one time when I was playing, had, you know, was talking to this guy, and I was like, hey, just play safe. I'm going to make some plays. I got, I think, 3 kills in the middle on back-to-back-to-back plays. Ash, please don't fall for this. We've seen him. Fuck. Well, at least Ash got one. Hey, I'm buying Vandal Pipes at least, so it would be some boost. But, he's just like, you leave the lane one more time, I'm AFK. He was even in CS. He hadn't even died. He just wasn't ahead, and he was just mad that he was having to play in a solo lane. And so sometimes, even if it's the correct play, just accounting for things like your teammates' mental health, right, is different. Or playing stuff that's hyper-aggressive, right, can actually be really good in something like Silver. Playing, like, you know, Lux bottom or Zyra bottom is going to be way more effective in Silver because people just aren't going to dodge as much. And you just might have to do more damage to carry your team because your top laner is not going to know how to play safely and they're going to go 0-10. So saying that, well, this is not a good advice for challengers because, you know, you should be leaving your lane and roaming a lot. It could be good advice for silver or bronze. And then as you level up, as you become more capable of doing different things, as your teammates become more capable of making better decisions and playing better, then the playstyle differs.
Oh god.
And I'll guarantee you, even high-level players, like, it depends on what it is. Obviously, some things are universal. But... I'm just dead. They're going to take tower. But there's no way I could have gotten out of that, I don't think, with the Quinn there. Yeah, I mean, you do want to improve. That's true, but I don't think you understand what... Or we're just fundamentally disagreeing on this. Is like, what looks good as a silver player can be different than what looks good as a challenger. And just because you're playing that way successfully in silver doesn't mean you can't change your playstyle as you level up and become better. Because not everyone has the skill set in silver to execute challenger level plays. They may not have the teammates to execute challenger level plays. Right? And even pro players, right? Like a good example is pro players. They're not going to play the same way in pro, even in like challenger where they're playing, because it's not as organized. You're not going to have as much like opportunities to do the same kinds of plays. And pro players are very good, but you just have to adapt to the different situations. Like that in and of itself, adaptation is a skill. Like not just trying to run it the same way because that's correct, because that's what the highest level players do all the time. And if you're not doing it that way, then you're wrong. It's like, again, some things are universal, but a lot of things, it depends on the game. And I think that's what a lot of high-level players, know, even in pro, is you have to adapt to the game state, to your teammates, to your team comp, to the enemies. You got to be able to adjust things. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, man. If you're saying you don't know, you shouldn't have to consider your teammates or play around them to win, especially in like silver. I mean, I just don't think that's true. Like you have to play higher than them, right? You can't just play on their level if you're trying to climb, but you need to consider and try to do what you can do to help them out. I mean, look at some of the most successful solo queue players of all time. What kind of champs do they usually play? Stuff that roams and affects side lanes and helps out side lanes. So they don't just get their... they don't just get ahead in their lane and just stick their head in the sand and say, well, I'm up 100 CS and 3 kills and my top laner's 0-10, my bot lane's 0-7, I guess I just lose, right? Now, they usually figure out how to get an advantage and then go roam around and help their teammates out because they don't want their teammates to fall that far behind. And that's usually people that are smurfing, right? When you're actually just playing close to the level that's your current maximum, you really have to sometimes take things into account, like mental health. Like sometimes, maybe it's not like fully optimal to gank this person at this time, but if they're like... If they're going to go AFK, if they don't get a gank, you just might have to gank for them, even if that's not the fully optimal play. Again, you might say, well, that's wrong. They should just be mentally strong. It's like, well, I mean, you can keep saying that's wrong all you want and just spinning your wheels and gold 4 or whatever, but again, I think you have to adapt and just play around kind of... Like, again, have core strengths, have things that you do that are independent of what your teammates are doing, but also take into account what's going on in the rest of the game and adjust, right? Like, if the rest of your team is behind, you might have to go for more damage items. Just if you might have to really hard carry. Or if you're just getting turbo camped, or, maybe you fall behind, maybe... You die a couple times, you just gotta adjust, say, hey, I'm gonna play a little safer because my top lane and my mid lane are, they're dominating. I just need to, like, get out of the way. Oh my god.
Oh, I missed.
So sometimes you just have to, like, lose your lane with grace and just try to be able to win later. Well, I haven't been able to read all of that, but better or worse. It just means they have a playstyle that excels in a solo queue environment. I mean, it depends. I don't even really know what we're debating anymore, to be honest. I think the original question was, can someone give advice on something if they aren't, you know, the highest rank, right? Or not like a really high rank. And I think, again, it depends on the person's level and what kind of advice you're looking for would be helpful. We're just kind of going to run over this game. God.
Oh my gosh.
Holy. Man. This is a bit of a diffie. Having knowledge and fundamentals. Yeah. I mean, again, if you're a challenger player, and I don't know what rank you are, but if you're a challenger player, then yeah, you know, maybe I don't have that much, right, that I could say. But I think it's just subjective, right? Because again, just like with my student example, someone might say something, and even if you are better than them at a certain skill, most of the time, I think everybody can still potentially teach you something or show you a different perspective if you know, kind of keep your mind open, right? But it's just up to you if you're worth it or not. I don't think people watch my channel just because they think I'm the best at League of Legends they've ever seen, right? Like, I think a lot of it is just coming in, hanging out, having a decent time, just chatting, having these types of conversations. Like, how many streamers are going to try to have, you know...
GG's, bud.
All right, GG's, man. Good luck in your arenas.
See you.
See you. You know, kind of try to have these higher level conversations, philosophical conversations about what is teaching, what is, you know, what is ethos, right? What's reputation and qualification? How much does that matter versus like the logos, the logic, and what it means to be a good player or whatever, right? Like, I think there's just, you know, a 15-year-old challenger player is going to be able to play the game well, but I don't think they're going to be able to have those kind of conversations. And I think that that's why a lot of people probably come in. It's just for kind of the environment, just being chill, occasionally getting into some philosophical conversations. No, that's fine. I mean, it's, you know, it is a question. Like I said, Nice was probably the most famous one. Now, again, he was a fairly high-level player, but the price he was asking was just extreme. But people paid it. I mean... What, Armando, what's up, man? What didn't make any sense? Something I said or something Rowdy said? So yeah, I mean, just with a lot of content creators, just in general on YouTube, it's like, I think a bigger question also is, why would people invest their time watching that type of content, right? And it just depends on, a lot of it is just subjective. Some people really just like things that other people don't or can't understand. I don't understand Skibbity Toilet, right? But apparently it was very, very popular. It's like, I think it's dumb as hell. I mean, I guess it's the same thing to some extent for, you know, League content creators. It's like, do you like their style or whatever? I mean, and another example of this is I like watching Double Lift and Sneaky. Right now, I like watching Cage Roll too, but there's just something about it where it's just, a lot of it's just kind of nonsense and personality stuff and whatever they say during their co-streams. There's not a lot of deep level analytical stuff going on. Sometimes there is. Sometimes they have good, interesting insights. They're obviously way better players, know way more than I do. But it's not on the level of something like Cage Roll's analysis or even probably something like LS. I don't agree with all of LS's takes, even though he's way better and smarter than I at the game. But Cage Roll definitely is a very good analyst and player, but I still, you know, I'll watch Cage Roll stuff, but if I have to choose with my time, am I going to watch Sneaky or Cage Roll? Usually I'll watch Sneaky stream co-stream because I just find it more entertaining. You start playing the game from the lowest rank to the highest rank, not just until GM. Learning how to play a game is part of the gaming experience. Okay, so what didn't make sense? Trying to come in, play challenger at an immediate level instead of like leveling up what I'm saying. But I mean, like what Rowdy's saying, like you're right in the sense that you don't want to like learn bad habits and get away with it forever and not change. Like I agree with that, right? So if you're in silver and you're smoking people with Zyra support, but you're doing it by being over aggressive, not respecting jungler timings, um, not respecting vision, not respecting priorities, stuff like that, and then you move up to like higher ranks and you start getting punished for that, and then you start blaming your teammates instead of realizing that what worked in silver or gold is not working at higher levels because you have to adjust and level up your awareness, then I agree with that. So you don't want to like get set in stone with bad habits, but I would say you don't want to get set in stone with anything. Like that's the biggest thing that like just really smart people and really successful people in any field is their adaptability, is their ability to listen to people, try to be open-minded, try to learn things, and adjust and improve, and just be realistic, right, with like who you are, what you're trying to accomplish, and where sort of you are currently. So I don't think that's a secret. That's like just called being smart, right? But again, I think that the realistic part is the thing that I think a lot of higher level challengers and coaches and things struggle with, is like they don't really know what it's like to be that limited, right? To kind of unknow all of the stuff that you know and get into the mind of a silver player, right? So does that mean that like silver players should be coaching other silver players? Not necessarily, right? But there is something to that, in that a lower level player is going to like be able to kind of be on that level and understand what some of those people might be struggling with in a way that a higher level person might not. And I've seen that with students too, where, I've had students tell me, during conferences and things, I thought something was pretty simple and was straightforward, and I thought that most of the class got it, but then I had someone, tell me like, hey, they really didn't understand this too much, or like, man, this is kind of over my head. And then I'm like confused. I'm like, I thought it was easy to understand Foucault and this theory about, culture or whatever. But I'm like, no, it's not. And it's like, it's hard because, and I've gotten that feedback from other professors who observe my class too. They're like, hey, you got to like take it down a little bit sometimes. So like, that was a great lesson, but so many people, I don't think they got it. It looked like they were kind of zoning out. But it's been a long time since I've been a freshman in a college class, right? So I don't understand sometimes what the struggle could be. I'm just like, why don't you just get it? And I feel like it can be that way with challengers or pro players or whatever. They don't really appreciate what the silver player might be struggling with. So again, I'm not necessarily saying that challenger players can't coach silver players, but I'm just saying, again, just having a multiplicity of perspectives, right? Having certain challengers, certain pro players saying things, but also potentially listening to some mid-level people could be helpful too. Now, should you pay a mid-level person $300 an hour to coach? No. Right? But just talking with them on stream or doing something that's relatively cheap, where you just like their vibe, you just want to support them, right? Like I used to do the $15 coaching sessions and stuff. And it was people, I think, that just wanted to donate anyways. And then I would just give them, some feedback. And, sometimes they would find it useful, sometimes not. It is what it is. Okay, I see what you're saying, Armando. I mean, that's true in an extent. So for a challenger player, they're going to say that everybody, sometimes they'll even say that GM players are bad, that they're dumb, or even master players are bad. And that might be true relative to them, because it gets astronomically more difficult as you go up. It doesn't get easier. So the difference even between challenger players can just be a huge gulf. Like the difference between a high, or even like a pro player or the highest level challenger player versus a GM player is probably a bigger gulf than like between bronze and platinum, right? So like you're not incorrect with that, but again, I think it's like what's realistic for people that are silver or gold to help them out. So if a challenger or a high level player has that insight and they can do that, and some of them do, right? Then that's great. I think it could be good for coaching. But I think that it's, you know, it's definitely a big risk that they could be too far in the ivory tower, right, to really be able to connect. And I've seen professors like that are so extremely smart, but they just do not connect very well with students. They just don't know how to break those ideas down or have the patience to really like motivate people and get them to really appreciate what you're talking about. Bad players making mistakes. You aren't actually playing the game. You start playing the game when you force people into errors by being creative. Well, the game is what the game is. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people trying to do a lot of things in games. I mean, I do think that, especially from the support perspective, what I think is sort of like what you're saying, being able to make plays, right? You force people into errors. You find opportunities to exploit mispositioning and to make things happen. And that's why I like engaged supports like Rakan. But I've been smoked, you know, by enchanters. Sona, who just sits back and just heals sometimes too on this patch because they're still just really strong. But I think there are different styles of play that can work. I think that's why League is so great too. There are so many different variables and it changes so often that there's always more stuff to discover and understand and perfect. And I think that's why it's been so enduring for such a long time. People are throwing food everywhere, hoping some goes in their mouth. Good players will actually find a fork or push. Yeah, but it depends on what you mean by good. Right? So remember, even a diamond level player is like the top 3% or something of players. To a challenger, they're trash. But to the overall population, they are extremely good and would beat 97% of players. Right? Even Emerald, I think, is top like 15% of players. So it's like my other, my main account or whatever is Emerald 4, which a lot of people would say that's trash, low elo. But it's like statistically, that's better than 85% of players. Right? So it's important to keep that perspective in mind in that when you start talking about that very high end, like Masters, splitting a 1 percentage point, that's like the ultra rich. That's like billionaires, right, in terms of wealth. And so most people just are not going to be there. They're not going to be able to execute on that level. And so trying to, like, insist that they can execute on that level is not going to be helpful because they just may not be able to mechanically do the plays. They may not be able to process. League is so much like just processing in your mind, just having all these cooldowns in your mind, mastering every champ, knowing the limits of what can happen in this situation. When can I kill them? When should I run? Different item spikes, different timings, right? Okay, I just hit this item spike. I know that we can go contest Dragon because these two players haven't completed these items yet. And I've got a 15-second head start because I pushed my wave a little bit more before I backed. You know, it's almost like calculus, all these different variables going on, and you have to understand and interpret all of that correctly. And again, be on board with your team, right? Is a lot of times what will happen, and this happens to me early on in a season, is a bunch of new players will come back that haven't played in a while, and, you know, I'll start down a rank. Maybe I ended in Emerald, and I'll start in, like, low Platinum or something when it always pushes you down. You kind of have to adjust your play style because, especially as an engaged support, people may not be on board with what you're doing, right? In a pro game or a higher level game, again, not that I've even played at that level, but even at just a slightly higher elo in Emerald or something like that, people are going to react faster. Right, like you go in, they're going to immediately follow up. Whenever you go in with Leona or Nautilus or whatever, they're going to be on board. They're going to do it, and it's going to be a good play, right? But if you're playing in a lower elo where people don't follow up, like they're not ready or they waste their cooldown or whatever, then it's a bad play. So sometimes you have to take the play that your team gives you and not try to force the play that's the correct play at a higher elo, but your team either can't react fast enough or they don't have the mechanics to pull it off, right? It's like maybe a high-level player would be able to win the 2v2 in this situation, but your ADC can't, orb walk fast enough to get enough autos while keeping enough space away from their melee support to make the play work, right? So again, just kind of understanding the limits of your team and trying to play around that. Again, like you can make out plays. It depends on your champion. But as a support, especially as an engaged support, being able to understand when you can go in and make that play or not. And if you can't, if it's going to be really close and you're not sure if your teammate is going to, have the mechanics or the brain power to pull that off, then you just got to wait and look for higher level plays or higher percentage plays, right? If it was going to be like a 55%, you win that fight, you're just going to have to look and try to find a 70% fight to guarantee that you're going to win it. Especially if your ADC has demonstrated they're not comfortable in their role, they're lagging, they're a little mentally slow, they're, flaming or otherwise like tilted. So yeah, it's just like, I've definitely struggled with that where sometimes the correct play, like objectively, is not the right play to do in that situation with that specific player, because that's just not going to happen. And so trying to force stuff with people that just can't do what you need to do is usually just worse. And just letting people die too. Like that's one of the hardest things to support, is just like, you know what, we're not going to be able to win this fight. This person can't do this. I just got to bail. Let's see. Okay, so people don't actually play it. They just lock in a champ and autopilot. If people actually play with intention, well, that's true, but like you're stuck with who you're stuck with, right? If you're playing a lot better than other people, you're going to climb, even if your teammates struggle, because you're the common factor in every game. Unless you duo and your duo is, also performing at a lower level. That's a bit different. But usually you're the only factor. I know, but like that's theoretical, you know what I mean? Like that's a pipe dream. I wish everybody would care about the game and just play stuff that's good for the comp, or play meta team, play meta comps instead of their weird off meta crap they like to play. I wish they, wouldn't tilt and would just stick it out, because I know we can win. It's like, yeah, I mean, everybody wishes that was the case. But the good news is, you got to remember everything is symmetrical, right? Like if your team is not doing that stuff, if they're tilting, if they're picking dumb picks, if they're not executing, the enemy team is also going to be doing that, right? Over a large enough sample size of games. If you play a couple hundred games in a season, it's going to be the same thing on both sides. So it can definitely be frustrating on your side when that happens. But you got to remember it happens a lot on the other side too, where they have a feeder, or they have a tilter, or whatever. And you just got to, be able to make do with what you have and get those wins. But I think it's very easy to remember the times when we had the 0-10 top, and then we forget the times they had the 0-10 top, where it's like, oh, it's just another win, just another day in the office, right? But when we have it, we feel it very personally, like, man, this sucks, this person's bad, this person can't play the game, whatever. And it's like, well, and people like are very it's like unreliable is not the word. I'm kind of blanking on it. Inconsistent. There we go. The lower the elo goes. So you might have a Yasuo player on your team that goes 0-8, but the game before that maybe he went 8-0. Right? So you got to remember that people are very inconsistent too, especially in lower elos. So I'd say trying to console someone when I'm trying to have a discussion. I don't know what you mean by console. Who would I be consoling? It's just you and I talking. I'm just saying that most people are not going to be masters. People that are in gold or whatever are going to play like they're in gold. Right? Like you just have to... yeah, but what's the point in saying people don't try in ranked? It's like, okay, that's the context. I just explained why it can look like that. But it's going to be symmetrical. If your goal is to climb, then you just have to learn how to exploit that and win in that environment. Right? Yeah, but apparently it's not obvious. Because that's what I'm talking about. Right? You're saying the game doesn't start until Masters. 99% of people don't play in Masters. If you're logging in and you're playing League of Legends, this is what you're going to get. Right? If you're in gold, you're going to get gold games. Like, they've tried experiments, right? You can go look them up on YouTube, where someone's like, I'm way better than my teammates, right? Like, I'm a diamond player. My teammates hold me back, and they drop them in a diamond game, and they get completely smoked, right? They're not nearly as good as they thought they were. So it's like, I'm not saying it's a failure of the player or the game. If you have a 50% win rate, like, that's where you're supposed to be at that time. And that's fine. Like, that's okay. If you're a Gold 4 player and you're logging in to play the game and you go 50-50, you got a fair game. It is a matched game over time. And that's okay. Right? People think, oh, it's bad. Oh, you're spinning your wheels. You're hard stuck, you know, or like, you can't enjoy the game unless you're playing at a master's level. But people don't say that about, like, just pick up basketball, right? Like church basketball or something. It's like, yeah, you're going in and you're playing basketball. Are you as good as LeBron James? No. Will you ever be as good as LeBron James? No. But you can still enjoy playing the game. You can still play basketball with some people. Now, usually that's people you know, and it's more friendly than randoms on League of Legends. But I think it's still like the same principle where it's like they are playing the game. You can still enjoy the game, play the game. You can still learn stuff and improve and just never be a Masters player. Because, I mean, other people are going to improve too every year. People just get better. Then they aren't intelligent people. Yeah, but like that, I feel like you're just always going to be disappointed with that kind of mentality. Like, everybody's trash, these people are trash, those people are trash, until you get to Masters, they're just not real people. It's like, maybe, but I don't know. Again, I don't know your rank. Like, if you're a challenger and you're down there playing with gold people, I can see the frustration. But if it's like, if you're gold and they're all gold, you know, you can try to work and improve, but it's like, at a certain point, you just have to accept, like, this is where I am. I've got mistakes. I can try to fix them, but, you know, I can enjoy the game too at the same time, even if I know I'm not, like, ever going to go pro. I don't even remember what Armando said. It was a while ago. How the game's different. So, I mean, I guess my main takeaway, unfortunately, I got to go to bed. I got to get up and take my daughters to daycare in the morning, but I mean, to try to put a big bow on all of this, I would just say, you know, just try to listen to people, try to learn some things. In my opinion, you know, there are like small things you can pick up on and improve. A lot of times, it's just, there's a million things wrong, right, with gold players' games. But if you can just find, or really any player, there's always stuff you can improve on. But just finding like one little thing at a time. Okay, this game, I'm going to try to not die to a gank. And then, you know, once you become comfortable with whatever skill is you're working on, this game, I'm going to try to hit 10 more CS than I usually do. Or this game, I'm going to work really hard to, you know, get my priority in lane and look for roam timers, right? So I can affect side lanes. I think that's the way to go, is just incrementally trying to improve small things at a time, getting better at that, and just trying to move forward. As far as the coaching, again, like the original question, it depends on what kind of insights you're looking for, right? As far as like a Masters or a Challenger player. I think they can give good advice, but also, is it worth it or not? It's subjective. The issue with not dying to a gank, for example, is an Emerald coach will say, place a ward. Someone with game knowledge would explain why you ward and when. I mean, I explain that as an Emerald person. It just depends, right? But do they need to know all of those things? And you're assuming that high-level coaches will say that. They might say that. They might not. They probably know that. But are they going to recognize that's something important to say and articulate it? Right? That's the difference. Like, we're assuming that because someone has a high level knowledge, that they're going to understand the importance of every piece of knowledge and try to explain that to somebody. And also, there's cognitive overload, right? If you try to explain every little possible detail of everything to someone who's in silver, they're going to like shut down. They can't understand and process all that information at a time. I remember one thing, like just an LS coaching session that was kind of famous, was he was talking about this wiggle that you would do in lane mechanically. And he kept talking to this person over and over again about this wiggle. Like, you get your champion to wiggle back and forth, and then you get an extra little pixel on your hitbox so you can get this trade at this specific timer. And it was like he went on about that for like 5 or 10 minutes about doing this wiggle and the way that you kind of like flick your mouse in order to inch out this extra little like 1% capability on a trade. And it's like, okay, cool, like that's really good for a challenger player, but you're coaching a silver person, right? It's more important to explain these broader concepts and to let the very minor stuff slide, right? And I have to do that as an educator too. Like, I'm not going to go massively in depth about every single possible grammatical thing they can do in every single like sentence in order to fully optimize their rhetoric for a specific audience, right? Like, I'll do some stuff, but a lot of times it's about broader things. Do you have an argument? Sometimes, is your argument using evidence? Is that evidence going to be compelling for this specific audience? Are you, connecting it with important context? Like, you just kind of have to layer it and see what the level is of the person you're talking to. And these are college students, right? If I was talking to high schoolers, I would have to take it down a notch even more, talk about even broader concepts. If I was in middle school, I'd have to adjust that. So it just depends. I mean, like in education, it's like you can't teach calculus to kindergartners, or it's very difficult. If you were to try to do it, it would be hard. You have to start with lower level stuff that scales and builds. You have to have like your basic math, and then eventually that builds into something like algebra, and then that eventually builds into something like geometry, and then that eventually builds into calculus. Yeah, but you may not need to explain that. It's like, yes, would an Emerald player have the game knowledge of like a professional or a challenger? Maybe not, right? Of, again, like specific jungle paths and timers, but do you need to know that to show a silver player how to improve, right? Because again, you got cognitive overload. If you're too detailed, even if you can explain it well, even if you recognize that's something I should talk about, which again, kind of like what Armando is saying, they may not even understand why that, like, they just intuit, they just know it, they'll say, right? Like, I just understand that that's important, why the jungler does this. But they may not think to explain that to a silver player. They might just assume the silver player knows that. Like, oh, this is why you do this pathing, right? But they may not even think to explain that, right? And just, like, as an educator, like I said a second ago, I take that for granted sometimes. I'm like, oh yeah, of course people know this. Of course people understand why you have to cite your sources, right? But sometimes that's not a fair assumption, right? Some students may not know that. They may not have been taught, hey, you have to actually cite your sources. They might just say, oh, if you just throw a quote in there, that's good, right? So again, are there high-level players that know that and can do that and can explain that? I'm sure there probably are. But just because they're high level doesn't necessarily mean that they will. So it's like they could. That advice you got is worthless because you warded but still died to a gank. I think that could be the thing. I don't know if I would go with arrogant. I think that's maybe a strong word. But I think your expectations might be too high for, again, like lower level players. Yeah, you want to show people how to learn. I totally agree with that. The best thing is to teach people how to understand and make their own decisions. But at the same time, again, it's a delicate balance because they don't know how to make those decisions at the time. So you have to like show them how to make good decisions. But you can't just be like, I mean, you could be like, okay, now why should we do this? What do you think about this? You know, kind of the Socratic method, like just get them to realize it. And that is good. I mean, that's what a really good teacher would do. But again, if you're going fully Socratic, hey, silver player, explain to me why you do this or why you do that, and you're going to stick with their reasoning, then you definitely don't need to be a challenger coach, right? You just need to ask good questions and just kind of let them figure out whatever they figure out. Yeah. So, I mean, I think we're kind of saying a similar thing. I think we have a similar vibe about stuff. It's just ultimately, like, the expectations, I guess, would be a little bit different. And, I mean, I've struggled with that a lot, too, right? Having higher expectations, not just for, you know, league and people in league, but also just... I used to really struggle with that, especially as just a thinker. When I was, especially in, like, my teens or lower 20s, I'm like, why do people believe this stuff? Right? That I thought was just very obvious that it was just false narratives or that they were being manipulated by various things, right? Various institutions or corporations or whatever. I'm like, this seems so obvious to me. Why are there so many like dumb people out there? You know, I've messed with students too, so I'm still just struggle with basic stuff. But, you know, as I've gotten older, I've just become a lot more patient, just kind of understanding that everybody is in a process of learning, you know, including myself. There's a lot of stuff where I'm really dumb. Where I have no clue what's going on. You ask me how to fix a car, I have no clue. You ask me how to fix an HVAC, I don't know. So just giving people a little bit more grace, just kind of understanding where their journey is. You just try to help them out as much as you can. But also, you know, trying to stay humble. Say, hey man, again, even some students that maybe not the greatest writer or critical thinker at the time, they can still teach you something if you listen. Like, hey, I hadn't thought about this topic in that way. That's pretty cool. And I remember there was, you know, sometimes you just never know. And sometimes people make big leaps. They just get told something in a certain way, and it just opens doors, right? So there was one guy that I had that I taught, you know, a while ago, probably over 10 years ago. And he came in, and he's just kind of like a bro in my class. And I thought he hated it, honestly, because he just looked kind of hungover. Mostly it was like an 8 a.m. class. Didn't really say a lot. Kind of had the, you know, RBF, the resting bitch face or whatever for a guy. He's just sitting there like, you know. And started off a little rocky. But then as the semester went on, he got better, you know, and better. And he was actually, I was like, dang, this is a pretty good writer. Like, you wouldn't think that. It started off rough. But then after a while, he kind of got it. And then a couple of years later, he took me for like a higher level class. And he came in. I'm like, hey, man, I'm glad you're in my class again. I didn't think you liked the first class. And he just kind of laughed. He's like, man, that class changed my life. He's like, I hated English. But just something, the way that you talked about it, I just really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed your class. And he's like, I would take anything that you teach again. So I'm taking this. And then eventually he became a lawyer. And now he's a lawyer. And he said, you know, that really just started him on his path of just thinking of writing and critical thinking in a different way. Because he said all his high school teachers sucked. He was just like memorizing poems and all this. And he hadn't really thought about like, oh, you can be strategic with this, with your rhetoric, and tailor it to specific audiences. And I think he liked that in the competition of it, right? Trying to, you know, write better than some of these other writers, which is, he's right at home as a law person. I teach English, mostly persuasive writing. So thinking about rhetoric, like thinking about your audience, what are the kinds of things you can say to appeal to certain audiences? What are ways you can structure your argument and use evidence more effectively? That type of stuff. My background was in Victorian literature, so a lot of like Dickens and stuff like that. But usually what I end up teaching is persuasive writing. So, I mean, I guess that's what I would say is it's like, it's easy to kind of Very hard to interact with people that I find aren't able to think for themselves to a point where I become disrespectful. Yeah, I mean, I've been there, I've done that. I mean, again, not to sound like condescending or whatever, and I still feel that way sometimes. I'm like, man, this person is like, why do you think that, man? But again, just trying to understand where people are coming from, not really know. You don't have to agree with them. I think that's a big thing too that a lot of people don't realize is you can listen and still learn stuff from people even if you disagree with them. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Like I could think 90% of what this person is saying is ridiculous, right? But then they say this 10% thing that I'd never thought about before, and I'm like, I don't agree with your conclusions, but that is a very interesting take on this topic, and I never thought about it from that perspective. Like there was one guy in one of my classes where, because I let students pick their own topics as much as I can, and then I just teach them how to research, how to write about it. And one guy picked like a carnivore diet and why vegetables were bad. And I was listening to it, and I'm just like, this is really kind of out there with a few of these things. But I was like, I never really thought about that. That some vegetables have like these defense mechanisms that can cause inflammation in certain people in certain situations, right? So like the, like the nightshade vegetables can be problematic for certain people in certain situations. So I don't agree with it. I still think vegetables are good. But that did show me something about vegetables for certain people in certain situations in excess could be bad, and that meat can have some redeeming qualities, that vegetables or fake meats or whatever aren't going to do. So just little things like that. But I try to learn something almost every semester from students writing about stuff. So again, does that perfectly map onto League? Not exactly, but I think just having that mentality of like, okay, this person is not a challenger. They're still, doing stuff that's probably not great. But, I hadn't really thought about this champion in this build for this team comp. Or I hadn't really thought about why you might drop a wave to go, do this objective. Or, why you might stay in this losing lane instead of roaming, right? If your ADC is going to have a mental breakdown in AFK or whatever. If I had to give one piece of advice for someone wanting to become a better writer or find a passion in literature, what would you say? I think for a lot of things, so much of it is building a habit of success with anything. And I tried to be a writer for a while. I was not a very good writer at the time. I would still like to try to do more writing later on in life. But again, a lot of it circled back to kind of what you were talking about is thinking, just kind of dismissing a lot of stuff. Just thinking, oh, I'm such a better writer than these other writers that I'm reading. I'm like, oh, this person's not good here and here. Where I should have been like learning, like, okay, I don't necessarily agree with their style, but here's why this works. Because I was like blinding myself. I had a lot of problems too. So I think a big thing is just kind of just trying to be humble, try to be open-minded, learn stuff. So if you're trying to be a good writer, you need to read a lot. Like you need to be a good reader first. And that's something I didn't understand. And you need to understand your genre and your audience, which is a big thing that, again, I didn't understand. You're trying to do science fiction or something, you need to go read a lot of science fiction. Try to understand, okay, why do people think this is a really good book? Right? Or why are some of your favorite science fiction books? Why are those good books? Right? What is it that the author's doing in their craft that is good? Also, listen to other people that are really good at it. So, I know Saunders, what is his name? I can't remember, that really good fantasy writer. Blanking out on his name right now, but just find a podcast or just some kind of analysis or just something where a really good writer that you enjoy kind of breaks down, here's what you should do, here's how to be a good writer. So just try to listen to other people that are good at what you're doing, read books that are kind of in your genre or that you find really interesting, read a lot, and be consistent. That's the hardest thing, is even if you're writing something and you just know it's total trash, or whatever, just sit down and do it. Just get used to sitting down and say, hey, I'm going to spend 2 hours today and I'm going to write. It doesn't matter if it's bad. I'm just going to sit there. I'm going to do it. And then you just, again, have that open mind, read it, and just be honest with yourself. Is this good or bad? Right? And then go back and revise it a lot. Or Sanderson. I said Saunders. Sanderson. So I was thinking of that really good fantasy novelist. And I listened to a lot of his podcasts, and he says a lot of these things that are really good. Get other people to read it, too, if you can. Just friends or family or whoever. Or even better, if you can join like a writing group. If your town has a local writing group that meets up and changes stuff. Or there might even be online, Discord things. But I think like in person, just getting with other people, reading their stuff, getting feedback, I think that's important. But the biggest thing about any sort of success is just consistency. Just do it. You just show up and you just do it a lot. And eventually, just having that, sort of mentality of success will ultimately pay off. But it's just putting the time in. A lot of times they say you got to spend 10,000 hours on something before you become an expert. So I think, just a level of humility, open-mindedness, and just consistency about it is a really big thing. As far as like getting a passion for literature itself, I think just finding something that you enjoy. For me, I really like understanding the context, the history. Why is this writer writing this way? What are they responding to in this era? Who in whose footsteps are they following? So what were they inspired by? That's particularly cool about that. So I really like the context. Some people really like theory, so reading it and just trying to see, okay, how is this like post-colonial theory or this kind of feminist theory or this kind of, whatever. Some people really like the theoretical stuff. I really like kind of the more historical, contextual stuff. Theory can be cool too, depending on what it is. But again, just trying to find some people that really kind of speak to you and the things that you're interested in, I think are great. And everybody's going to be a little different about that. There are some like all-time great books that resonate with a lot of people. But, you don't have to go out and read the most difficult, challenging stuff. Right? Like James Joyce's Ulysses or Finnegan's Wake or, these other crazy books. And it's okay to not like something that's like a great piece of literature. If you're just like, a lot of people like this, it's considered really good, but it's not my thing. So yeah, hopefully that helps. But yeah, and I think a lot of success is trying to play around your strengths as well and learn, again, so that you improve your strengths. I think that's a big thing that I try to teach my students. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. This is the final thing, and I really got to leave after this. I've loved talking with you, man. I'm glad we came in and had a great conversation. I think this is, again, why people like to come to my channel, even though there's not that many people these days. I'm just trying to have actual, conversations about things, because I enjoy this too. But writing from strength is what I tell my students. And I think that's just like working from strength could translate to anything in life. It's just, instead of figuring out what all your weaknesses are and just fixating on that, like, oh, why am I not good at this? Why am I not good at that? Figure out something that you are good at and that you really enjoy and just really work around that as much as you can. Now, I know practically that's not possible. If you just really enjoy video games and you're just probably never going to be a pro gamer, you might have to figure out a plan B, right? But I think just starting from stuff that's like, okay, what am I good at? What do I enjoy? How can I make that a bigger part of my life? I think is a huge part of success. And I think people overlook that a lot. They just think, how do I fix all these weaknesses? Instead of saying, okay, how can I play around my strengths? Because when in an essay, a lot of times what people don't realize is they'll run out of stuff to say. It's like a 5-page essay or something. They get to page 4 and they're like, I don't know what to say. And so they just start making up a bunch of crap at the end. When instead, if you just slow down and you're like, hey, I said something really cool in paragraph 2, but I only spent 1 or 2 sentences on that. If I just find my strengths, my best sentences or my best points and just say more about that. So instead of just spending a sentence on it, spend a paragraph on it. And if you, can turn that paragraph into a whole page right? Just really go into the details. Okay, what are the implications of this point? What's some more evidence for this point? How can I address a counter argument for this point? How can I address a potential skepticism that my audience might have about this point? Or how can I demonstrate why this is important if they might think that it's trivial? You know, just how are there more ways that I can solidify this point or connect it with other points I've already made, or preview points I'm going to make in the future, or connect it with another context or another field that could be interesting, depending on where you want to go with your argument. But just playing around your strengths, just slowing down, and instead of just fixating on, okay, what am I doing bad, or how can I just make up more junk just to meet the requirement, just playing around your strength. So if there's something, again, that you're good at or that you're talented in, is there a way that you can kind of parlay that into successful things? Like I have a friend, and she had just been a bartender for a long time. I don't think she had a lot of formal education. I don't know her super well. She's like, you know, kind of a friend of a friend. But she was a bartender, which is nothing wrong with that. It's great, but she wasn't really like satisfied with that. And then eventually she started doing some like art classes. Like she would go to bars, and there was like an attraction where people could come in and pay whatever, $40 and take an art class with her and have drinks. And she would recommend drinks. She'd go to different bars, not just the one that she worked at. And people would pay to take these art classes. And then and then she parlayed that into like doing tarot readings and stuff like that too. And I'll be honest, I'm not a big tarot guy. I don't know a lot about that. But she was saying there are some nights where she'd get like $200. People would just tip her. She didn't even charge anything. People just come in. She said a lot of times it's just really skeptical people. And they would come up and she'd just do a tarot reading and just talk with them for a little while. And they just tip her $10, $15, whatever. And so she found a way, she's finding ways to parlay the stuff that she enjoys, that she likes, like art and tarot, and figuring out how to monetize that and make some money out of it. And there was somebody else who is my friend's dad, who is a middle school special ed teacher. He did it, and it was okay, and he kind of had a passion for it, but he really likes trivia. He loved Jeopardy. He was trying to train to be on Jeopardy. He never got there. He just loves history and culture and all this kind of stuff. And so he started designing his own trivia night stuff. So he would make his own, you know, sort of Jeopardy things. And I don't know all the details, but people really liked it. These different bars liked it. And he would like license it out to bars. He would do it himself, the trivia nights, but then eventually he would license it out to other bars so that they could use it. And he started making all kinds of money just off of this trivia, because he got like, you know, a dozen bars or more in town to license his trivia and just pay him royalties basically to use his trivia. And now he's making more than he did teaching. So there's just weird things like that. And again, that's not always possible, but just weird stuff like that. Hey, I might have to go back. I mean, my university's making some cuts. I might end up getting cuts. I might end up doing some bartending or serving again for a little bit too while I figure out what my next move is. Hopefully I can get back in education or stay in it. But yeah, and you have a biochem degree. I knew a guy that worked, when I used to go to a Subway, I played Magic the Gathering with some friends at a card shop when I was a teenager. And there's a guy that worked the Subway next door, who's a Subway manager. And he used to give me all of these Scientific Americans, which I thought were really cool at the time. And they still are cool. But the internet wasn't really as much of a thing. It was like there, but it was just really early days. And so these physical hard copies of Scientific American were one of the only ways I could get all this scientific knowledge. And I thought it was really cool. So he just gave me like 50 of these things, like these old Scientific Americans he'd read. I was like, dang, man, how do you have all these Scientific Americans? You really like science, huh? And he was just like, yeah, I've got a PhD in particle physics. And he just either couldn't find a job or really liked working at Subway or something. I don't know. But he just worked next door in the Subway. He's this guy with PhD in particle physics. I've had some of my colleagues that had PhDs and they're working, you know, at Lowe's. One guy's like driving a forklift in a warehouse. He's like, finally found a good place for my PhD. And he had like a picture posted up and he hung it on his forklift. I know one guy that got a PhD and is in like, you know, farming or something now out in California. So, you know, sometimes life just takes you in weird places and you got to adapt. But it's not ideal. I'm sure they would have probably liked to be in academia if you can, but academia is one of the worst possible career choices if you want to have job stability and make money. But anyways, all right. Well, Rowdy, it's been great talking with you, man. Hopefully you're enjoying bartending, or find something that you like with the biochem or farming or forklifting or wherever, wherever you decide to go. But anyways, all right. Well, if you ever want to stop by again, my stream schedule is a little erratic, but usually I try to get on around 11:30 or 12. So if you want to come in, have another conversation sometime, that'd be great. But other than that, I got to get out of here. I got to get up in the morning, not be a zombie. But it's been great talking with you. So anyways, and everybody else that's been out there, thanks Armando for chipping into the conversation. Butter, as usual, and all the other silent majority out there. And thanks Poison if you're still out there too. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Hey, yeah, and thanks Rowdy. You have a good night too, and thanks, Rowdy. Yeah, if you can't ever make it out, I try to look at my comments. If you just like leave a comment on the stream, and I can respond there if you can't make it out live. I'm trying to get better about that. Just take a couple minutes and look at the comments. But anyways, yeah, stop by again sometime whenever you can. It'll be great chatting with you again. Okay, see you guys. Have a good one.